what he has in his law, in his books.
Okay.
He cannot do more than that. INEC cannot say, okay, you are cancelling this election because of this. No. INEC can only say, you have not done this, you have not done this, therefore your candidate is defeated, you are disqualified. And if any candidate is disqualified at the point you are, there will be crisis. And that's what the parties are aiming at now, running towards. And there is crisis in this country, and the nation does not hold, there will be further crisis.
And now, Larry, what's your take on the rise? I mean, the extended deadline for primaries will have dire consequences coming from INEC.
Wow. The need to actually send in that warning signal applies majorly to the APC, because they've had the experience before. The idea of not running primaries as it should had them sanctioned by not having a governorship candidate in an election.
Yes.
And so if there is any party that should learn from past experience, it should be APC. Be that as it may, I think INEC is trying to say that we have a timeline that we have given you. And those timelines have time frames that will affect our own programs and planning if you don't play to it. If you are still extending dates of picking your candidate, how can INEC begin to plan based on information of these candidates have emerged? We know who is representing which party. We know who is contesting on the platform of these parties. We have them on our ballots. Because, well, on the ballot paper, it might be party signal that you see. But in some instances, in their records or books, there will be a name attached to each of those positions. So how do you now correlate when you don't already have that in their database? So in order not to affect their database, whatever does not come to their database as at the deadline that they have given for primaries is not supposed to be. But we are sliding gradually from purely democratic setting to a much compromised autocratic setting. As much as they are saying that, I won't be surprised to hear a double talk from INEC if they see the body language of Mr. President. That I will extend and nothing will happen. Even the party people are complaining now because they are surprised. We keep shifting let's get this done and we move on. But at the last minute, probably when a lot of things will not be possible again, is when the president will say his mind, and that's where they are going to tilt the party to. That's APC. PDP too is playing a waiting game because he knows that APC is the ruling party and they are trying to be careful too. So much as they are trying to be on ground doing other primaries right now, they are blinking also on the presidential election. Or rather, I would say they are holding on to the dictate of let's see who blinks first. They have prepared that they want to do primaries and all, but they are waiting for APC too. And the way it's going, the president's assent to the Electoral Act that they are still waiting for is a major lacuna. One, he has not signed it.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah, yes.
So is it 2,000 plus delegates or is it 7,000 plus delegates? That is a clause because there is a court action. I think the judgment was it yesterday now, about whether the document is valid or not. Now, they are still like, okay, he has signed. Is it 2,000 delegates? Is it 7,000 delegates? Or is it consensus? That is a major issue in the political terrain now. You are supposed to warm up to like 7,000 people. If the number is reduced to 2,000, it reduces your level of communication to delegates. And if you are saying you are going consensus, you have reduced the strength of delegates. Because if you are going consensus, why must I give a delegate my assurance that we will run government together? That's the power of the delegates too. They want to say, okay, you have said you want to do my side, you want me to vote for you. If I vote for you, will you settle my constituency or settle something? I mean, there must be something that will be but now, if you reduce that power that delegates have, that's the only power they have. They are not holding public office. They just want to come and vote for reason of probably being a delegate officially recognized or for holding one office that allows them to be delegates in that election. So I'm sure by the time we are close to INEC deadline, more people would want to shift ground and probably let's get on course. Whatever it is, the election in 2023 will hold. The elections might have its flaws. Let's get through this stage first. There's a stage now. Let's do the primaries. Let's have. How can we think of election in the first quarter of next year and we don't even know candidates yet? As at this time, I think it's late in the day. If indeed we want to run a real election, the candidate is supposed to go to 36 states, even if he's not going to the hinterland of those states. Each one of them, how do they program that plan? So I suggest, I think we should just wait and see how it goes.
If you are the head of the GSS, what I would have done in this case is all the candidates as of now go and investigate all of them. No matter who is going to emerge, that makes the job of the GSS easier. Investigate them, get to the database, know everything about them, then set up a database for each of them. So whoever emerges, you just pick out that database and you know this kind of person, this is what he is. If he's not fit to run elections, you go after the person. If he's fit, you let it go. Because if you don't have this kind of database, you might be putting some prisoners in positions of power without knowing exactly what they are. And after they have been put in position of power, facts will now emerge that you are not supposed to have been there in the first place. Because you are not investigated with it. Or maybe because you have not been given enough time when they emerge as candidates, then you're faulty there.
All right, now let's look at what Larry said the other time. He talked about the body language of the president. Maybe it can make the INEC, shift ground. Now, if this happens, what do you think will be the effect on the 2023 election?
Personally, I don't believe we should be waiting for the body language of the president. You could as well give him the opportunity to say, okay, he's been in the presidency, he's been on the seat for this long period, and he knows, maybe among his cabinet or among the people that are in his party, he has known who is who in that system. But he cannot know it all. That's one thing. If you want to rely on the body language of the president, we are going to be faulty. We are going to find fault in the system. Whoever the president picks today to be the next candidate for presidency, let me assure you today, the whole thing is going to collapse if that person becomes the president. Because a lot of people have been crying that the president has not done well. Has not done well for this, for that, and yet you want the president to pick a candidate for you. And that's why the consensus candidature is something I really abhor. Though the delegates thing, it's not fault-free, but it's even better than the consensus. The delegates are going there to make money. That's what Nigeria is today. Delegates are going there to make money. The fear they have, the more money they make. Either you are talking about 70 or 100 or 20 or 50, they're going there to make money. And that's where the money that will be spent by all these candidates comes in. Okay? So if the president says, okay, this is the person I align with to be president, and they pick the person maybe on consensus basis, where lies the masses, the wish of the masses. Because the masses are the ones that send these delegates forward. And if you don't work with the delegates, then you are not working with the masses. It means you have just stayed there, up there, cut the masses off, and just pick whoever you want to pick to come and rule us. They will start from square one, from square zero, like I said the other time. There's no guy.
All right. Thank you, sir. Larry, let me pick your word the other time. You talk about the non-signing of the Electoral Act by Mr. President. Now, if the president is keeping the politicians or INEC in suspense.
No, he has signed it yesterday.
He has signed it
yesterday.
Okay. Now, with the signing of electoral bill now, do you see it as being belated or is coming at the right time?
Well, it's better late than never. If it's signed, I read it someplace, but the effect of it is it's signed yesterday. Yeah. It will be escalated to other levels. Okay. And gets the copies. So there is a red tape that will still span like till Friday, Monday. Okay. And at the end of the day, we will just be at the deadline of the time to determine. Okay. Now, find out what has taken place, but I still don't see INEC doing anything outside of. Look, Nigeria is is a different place now. It's a completely different place now. Ordinarily, INEC leadership should have been from individuals, from the states, from the zones, from wherever, of proven integrity, of probity and all, not card-carrying members. But if we have seen a central bank governor coming out to say he's belonging to, so what do you think about people who are holding offices like that too? So, to a large extent, we are believing God that even when they give you a job, you know how to do it. So whatever your affiliations that have gotten you the appointment, you will still understand that the office you sit on expects some level of decorum from you, and the minimum standard of participation.
All right.
I believe we should get to that level to move forward.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We go on short break again. We'll come back after this time now. Stay tuned. Now to the third issue of discussion for today. Rising cost of vehicles. Nigerian dealers patronize accidented cars. So yeah, in those days, we were told that how people were able to buy brand new cars. Later, it was Tokumbo. Now the accidented cars. Are you not worried?
Yeah, I'm not worried.
You are not worried?
I'm not worried, but I'm sad. I'm sad. Because, you see, this kind of thing, it's not just touching. It's only being brought to the limelight by through the news media. It has been on for a long period. Accidented cars. Let me start from as far back as 1980.
Okay.
1980, yes. They brought accidented cars into this country. As far back as 1980. Imported from elsewhere. But before they brought these vehicles in, they would have done some repairs over there. Okay. If you don't know about cars, you will never know. I was looking at a car about that 1980. There was a car that was brought in by a friend of mine. It looked like brand new. Because at that time, I brought my first car in 1977. Okay. Brand new. Brand new, not Tokumbo. At that time, nobody knew anything about Tokumbo. There was nothing like Tokumbo in this country. But by around 1979, 1980, the first Tokumbo I would see in my life was one brought in by my friend, Oipo 504. This car is a Canadian spec. Beautiful car when I saw it. In fact, there was no way you could have distinguished between that car and a brand new vehicle, the way it was. But because I was so much I love vehicles, I love electronics and vehicles. Okay. This just intrigued me that I was looking around the car. And I just saw a particular spot on that car. Where I saw that the wheelbase of that car, one side of the wheelbase and the other side of the wheelbase were not the same.
Okay.
And I saw that this wheel was touching the rim.
Okay. And
the other one was not touching. So I went to look at that car very well, and I saw the two tires there are the same kind of tires, the same size.
Okay.
And I looked at the car very closely. And I discovered that car had been accidented. And the car was repaired. But because it was repaired in a hurry or whatever, one side where the car had an accident, the fender should have stayed this way, it became bent. And that one was not repaired. And now, I called my friend and said, look, I can come and look at this side of the car. What do you think has happened? He didn't even see what was wrong. Because they pointed that finicky thing out of him. Because you have to be very finicky about car before you see that. And I told him, look at this, look at this. He also said, well, I don't know what happened. I said, look, as time goes by, if you keep on driving this car, at a particular point, you'll be turning the wheels, and this wheel will be touching the body of the car. And lo and behold, After about a year and a half, that's started happening. So what am I saying? Accidental cars are important in this country. Let's fast forward to the year 2014. Yes, okay. 14. I went to Cotonou, Benin Republic. I wanted a car. And when I got there and I saw the workshops in the various vehicle yards, okay. I was astonished. These cars are accidented. They will take it to the yard in Cotonou. The same paint of that car, you don't have to bother about whether it will blend or not. It will blend. They are so perfect. They will do it in such a way that when you bring that car into Nigeria, except you are very good in car station, you will never know. You will never know. And I saw these things, and some of the dealer that took me there was telling me that, look, if you buy these things and will repair them, you never can know when you bring them to Nigeria. Except you come here yourself and you see it. You don't come here, if you bring it to Nigeria, you never know. That's exactly what has been happening. So accidental cars have been brought to Nigeria years and years and years before now. Maybe it's only now that we are beginning to, maybe some of them are brought to Nigeria without being repaired. And they're not repaired in Nigeria, so we begin to see them and say, okay, they are buying accidental cars. They have been brought to Nigeria over a long period. And we have been buying them. And that's why sometimes, when the tire bursts and the car somersaults, the kind of damage you see in one car will not be the one you see in another car. Because some of these cars have had damaged chassis. Okay. The chassis have been bent, we never know. They are bent so slightly that you never know. But when you have an accident, that's when you know. And the thing is, it's because the Nigerian government has not done what it should do. If you know the tax, that the duty that's paid on these cars in Cotonou, it's the same time as being paid in Nigeria here. So it's cheaper to buy there and ferry across to the land border, the various porous land borders. Yes. And the customs men are there to receive their own token and just let the car pass. But in Nigeria, I think of recent, the thing has been brought down now. The tariff has been brought down to about maybe 20 or 25% something, I can't remember, or 15 something, 15%. But when they get to the ports too, and you are going to clear these things, the ports are so congested. Sometimes before you can clear this car, you increase the lot of pumps, you do a lot of things before you can clear this car. By the time you clear that car, the cost of the car has gone up. So it's the kind of things we see, and that's why you have these problems of accidental cars being brought into Nigeria. And again, if you look at people who sell cars now, the cars that were manufactured in the year 2020, that are spilled over to 2021, and have not been able to be sold over there, are now packed aside for the new models that are coming in, and they're sold at cheap prices. So our car dealers over there who take this, who buy the cars from there, will not buy those cars and send them back here. And when you're going to buy the cars, you buy them at the latest price. Whereas the costs have been discounted over there. These are the various means by which we get cars in this country. And that's why when you see somebody driving the Tokubo and speeding and saying that I bought a new car, just laugh. You don't know how far this car has gone. You don't know what this car has gone. So you don't begin to drive this car.
All right, so yeah. Now, Larry, let me ask this question. Now, why should the country slide to this age of accidented cars, in spite of the good old days we've had in this country?
The good old days were days with hope. There's too much hopelessness going on now. And it's unfortunate, it's just unfortunate we find ourselves in this situation, but that's what we are going to live with for now. Because those who are supposed to change it are not ready. They are not prepared for it. And like Oga said, there were times in this country that nobody was thinking about Tokubo. But now, the dollar has gone way high up there that the Naira cannot comprehend. In the past, vehicles that you normally get for like $2,000 from the US is probably like $3,000 now, because they have their own level of recession too. But their own system is such that your value of your currency changes. You change the value of what your citizens will also get as payment. So if it was $7 per hour, your working fee, and the economy has tilted and changed the value of the exchange of that money, you will see them shifted up to my $9 per hour. So it's taking proactive actions as those things happen. But in our own case, so you can't blame those people who are doing the dealership thing. Every vehicle has a VIN. Their system is one that works. So if you go to any dealership, the reality on ground now is those vehicles are accidented vehicles. But if you look at the VIN number, vehicle identification number, click on it, search on Google, it will bring you the history of that vehicle. He had an accident on the right side, it affected his fenders. If he touched his bike at whatever part of it, so even if they are fixed or repaired it here, you can still get information. That's what technology does. So our people who buy from dealers vehicles should know that there is an information on each vehicle that tells you its history, and once the dealer knows, you are aware of that. Yes, they want to sell it as if they bought it clean like that and brought it in. No, you have a reason to assess it. It's unfortunate we're having that knowledge of that technology because of what is happening. You see a vehicle coming in, all the nose is damaged, the bottom part is damaged. What he pays customs to bring it in reduces.
Yeah.
So, but now when he brings it in, he will touch it up, he will clean it up, fix, and bring to his stand, and you see a very clean car. But with that information from that vehicle itself, you can know its history and know whether the accident was very bad or mildly so, and make up your mind or use that as a bargaining chip when you're asking for what you want to pay. But the reality is our currency has been so devalued that it's bringing those necessities into a reasoning pattern. It's unfortunate, but that's why we are here.
But one thing again, this VIM we are talking about, you cannot just go into a workshop, into a mutual garage or a mutual sales depot, and start looking for the VIN and start Googling.
If you have that information, that's what I'm saying.
If you have that information and you go there and start doing that, the dealer will just send you away and tell you, if you don't want to buy, get off.
You want to expose
No. He knows that he knows you have information.
Yes, once you know.
He knows you have information. And so you discuss based. I have a lot of them as friends, so I know about it. It's all I've done before.
Okay. So yeah, how do we ensure the return of the good old days?
Return of the good old days.
Before we round up.
No, let's just say the good old days cannot do.
Okay.
You can get near it.
Okay.
You can get near it because all over the world now you have bad economy. I mean, the level is only different from one country together. The economy that we had in those days is not what we have today. The population we had in those days is not what we have today. So these are the variables that work against whatever you do today. But we can be better than what we are now. We can be better. If only leadership here takes the gauntlet and say, okay, I want to make this place better. Look at Dubai. Look at how many years Dubai took to become what it is today. It was the vision of a leader. Say, okay, this is what I want this country to become. It's going to become that way. And look at what happened in the Asian countries where they just shut the whole world out. I say, okay, we want to build. We can do that here. You have the brains in this country to turn this nation around. Only if you allow them.
Okay, all right. Larry, how can we, your admonition to the leaders regarding the situation we have on ground now?
My admonition is just simple.
Okay.
That the leaders in Nigeria today should know that we've never had it this bad before.
Okay.
And as such, they should do everything humanly possible to understand that, one, Nigeria is better together, it's bigger together, it is stronger together. All this approach comes when the leadership is working. But if you have abandoned everything that leadership is supposed to do, then the bigger, better, and stronger will not matter again. It is not a matter of life and death that Nigeria must be together.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you for coming on the program. So yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your regular presence on the program.
Thank you for having me. And thank God for giving me safe and sound to be here.
Thank you. Larry, I appreciate your presence.
Thank you for having us, and thanks for making us speak about things that can possibly give a chance, a second chance.
All right. I also appreciate my colleagues at the other end of the studio for providing the necessary assistance that ensure the success of this program. Viewers at home, this is where we are going to stop for today on the program. Tomorrow is another day when you join my colleague for the presentation of another edition of In the Newsroom. Until then, I remain yours, Kayode Adibayo. Bye-bye.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.